Hey, Joel. I see a Ferris wheel and beautiful blue sky. I cannot quite figure out where this is, though. This is KN6QNJ, AI6DG. This couldn't be Coney Island. I don't know. All right. Why don't we go with Bob N6PGQ?
I can't figure it out either, but obviously you have a Ferris wheel in the background, fairly large. The gondolas where you would ride look like they would hold more than a couple of people. In the foreground, there's some shops. People are sitting there, waiting either on a bench or leaning against a table. Very nice street lamps there, and I don't know whether it's cobblestone or some type of street there in the front, and lots of either neon or bright colored lights on all the buildings. So it's a good picture, very, very few pixel pops, and nice transmission, N6PGQ.
Thanks, Bob. Carol, KP4MD, what do you think?
This is KP4MD. I actually have no idea, but some interesting lines. There's some these black wires. It looks like they start at the top of the picture and they go towards the back. And I'm wondering if this is a painting of some sort. It's I know it doesn't make sense because I see people walking. Very strange. I can't say what it is, but Alf says it's not in Vegas. But now he says his guess is Vegas is the final answer. So back to you. This is KP for MD.
Thanks, Carol. Well, now that you mention it, it looks like that the top blue part of the picture is like looking at the bottom of a pool, like the lanes of a pool. I see that now. I didn't notice that at first. Joel, are you ready to tell us what this is about, AI6DG?
I'm surprised no one gave the answer of, well, it's Joel, so it's probably either Yosemite or Las Vegas. So yes, this is Las Vegas. This is the high roller Ferris wheel in Las Vegas. It is, well, it used to be the biggest in the world. Now it's the second biggest in the world. It's 550 feet tall. So each one of those gondolas is room size. Now, admittedly a small room, but actually one of the things they do is you can, for some price, get unlimited drinking of alcoholic drinks, and they roll a bar onto it, and for the half hour that it takes for this thing to go all the way around, they keep refilling your drinks. I haven't tried that, but it is Vegas after all, so it's not surprising that they would have something like that. This is, the shopping area that we're looking at is an area called Promenade. It's basically what used to be an alley between Harrah's and Flamingo. And it used to be an alley, and they developed it and built all these shops and mostly food and bars. There's actually an In-Out Burger, woohoo, In-Out Burger, off to the right. The people are sitting, you can see in the foreground people sitting around something, and that's actually a little water fountain. It's really pretty, it's really busy. And the lines up on top, zip lines are really big in Vegas. They have a zip line that goes from all the way in back of the promenade, almost all the way to the front of the promenade. So every once in a while you hear people screaming, and they're zipping along on this line above you from front to back. The neat thing about the Ferris wheel is it's always moving. And the loading and unloading area at the bottom is curved to the radius, not the radius, the curve of the ring that the gondola is attached to. So it keeps moving. They open the doors. You've got a nice because the wheel's turning, and because it's the same, the curvature of the area, the loading area is the same. Basically, you just walk on. Anytime during the time that it's turning and moving, you can just walk through the doors onto it. And the mechanism to move it is really simple. I mean, basically the thing is free spinning, and they've got these motors that are slowly turning, and it's just friction. You know, it's like tires rubbing against a surface on the edge of the ring, and there's a slowly turning. And I don't imagine it takes a whole hell of a lot of force, because it's just like a wheel. Once it starts spinning, it just keeps moving. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm not sure how much sense I'm making and taking time. Back to net, AI6DG. Thanks for running the net.
AI6DG. No, that was a really interesting explanation. And just to confirm, is this outside or inside?
Most definitely outside.
It has the blue of Caesar's promenade, that inside promenade. That's why I was asking. Thanks for that. Any other questions for AI6DG about this picture?
I think the blue is because this is at sunset, and you've got that perfect time when you've still got a little bit of light in the sky, but the lights are turning on. And that's actually a perfect time to take the high roller, because if you can catch it where you get on during the daylight and then the lights turn on, by the time you get to the top, you get the nighttime view of Las Vegas. Really pretty.
That's really nice. Thank you, Joel. Bob, N6PGQ, are you ready to share your picture?
Yep, here we go. This should be PD 120 N6PGQ.
N6PGQ, I copy, really good copy of younger people doing something. It looks like somewhere, field day somewhere. I can't quite see it because I'd have to put my glasses on, and then I Oh, here we go. I'd be interested to know when and where this took place. I got good copy, a couple lines across the middle. This looks like a big festival in the back. It looks bigger than maybe just a field day alone, but I'd be interested to know more about it. Carol, your turn to comment if you're ready.
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. I'm familiar with this place. I think, Bob, this is a picture you may have taken on Friday at the Dry Creek Ranch during the Rio Linda Farm and Tractor Days, which you normally bring your code practice oscillators there, and public comes by, and especially kids love to practice sending their names in Morse code. And I believe I recognize your KX3 radio there also on the table. Somebody also looking from the back up above behind the KX3 there. So back to nets, KP4MD.
Thanks, KP4MD. AI6DG, Joel.
Yeah, Carol said it pretty well. I'm thinking the tractor days. Okay, so we got a nice little table, KX3, a couple of kids looking up in I don't know, curiosity. They look like they're looking at a couple of charts of Morse code that were on the table in front of them, and practicing their Morse code on the code practice keys in front of them. And a lot of activity in the background. Beautiful day, lots of sun, and I hope you had a good turnout of people with interest. Back to net, AI6DG.
Thanks, AI6DG. Bob, N6PGQ. I'm guessing that Carol and Joel did a good job of describing it, but I'd be interested to hear, for instance, do we know who these kids are?
Well, the picture was taken at the Rio Linda Historical Society site at their Farm and Tractor Days, and this was taken on Friday. And on Friday, the kids from the neighborhood school walk over and get to look at trinkets and get some free snow cones and look at all the displays. There's old-fashioned tractors and make and break chugger one-lung engines that are there, and all sorts of interesting stuff to look at. This section was one of two tables that the River City Arcs had on Friday, and Carol's describing it correctly. Those are two code practice oscillators, and all three of those guys filled their name in and found the corresponding Morse code dots and dashes, or dots and dits, and sent their name in Morse code. We had a bunch of kids, probably, I would say at least 15, and most of them were really interested. We talked to them about the history of Morse code. Let this break. And demonstrated radio, and yes, that's my KX3. And to the left of the picture is Dave's radio. Dave and Ken, they were there on Friday with me and talking to the kids and holding down the fort. And I wasn't there on Saturday to give a report for that. Maybe Carol could. We always have fun there, and that site, River City Arcs, has had their field day there for quite a few years before we moved over to the current location. And I don't know, I'd almost kind of like to go back. It's kind of more fieldy. Anyway, that's the story of the picture, and they did send their name in Morse code, N6PGQ.
Thanks, Bob. Any other comments or questions on Bob's picture? Okay, very good. And let me acknowledge Alf and Andy on the YouTube channel. Carol, KP4MD, are you ready to share a picture?
Yes, we're going to send us also PD-120s, KP4MD.
Carol, thank you, KP4MD. Well, it's a cartoon. I have a few lines across it, but it really came through very well. Words in the upper left, it used to be my hobby too, and somebody looks like on a radio. Joel, AI6DG, what do you think?
It's old style, like 30s or 40s style cartoon. The reception was excellent quality. The original, though, is a little low resolution, but it's an old style. We're looking at a husband and his friend looking through a doorway into a ham shack, old style with 6-foot tall racks of equipment and lots of knobs and meters. But they're looking at his wife, who's talking away on the radio, doing QSOs, saying, yes, it used to be my hobby too. So I guess she's gotten very interested in taking over the shack. Back to net, AI6DG.
Thanks, Joel. Bob, N6PGQ.
Well, I can't add much to that, except that it appears to not be a CW contact. Looks like she's holding a microphone in her right hand and has her left hand on the transmitter controls. Just like everybody said, you got all sorts of knobs and meters and everything else to tune the old radio gear. Carol always finds something pretty good, and I think that one's great. N6PGQ.
Thanks, Bob. I'm wondering if this cartoon was done after somebody in real life. Carol, KP4MD.
Well, I don't doubt that this sort of thing could have happened at some point, but This is not. I copied this off of a QSL card actually. That's sent out by the ladies of the net, which is KM6CIR, and I thought it would be a little comic image to share here on the net. So I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Back to Net's KP for MD.
Thanks, Carol. Okay, any other comments about Carol's picture? And if not, I'll send a photo, also PD 120. I'll go in reverse order now and ask Carol to comment, KP4MD. And this is KN6QNJ.
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. Interesting picture. I see looks like a bunch of RVs, a number of RVs. One, I see one on the right there, one closer on the left side, and perhaps some kind of a van or an SUV attached to the front of that there. And looks like a picnic table set in between them. Can't really make out too much else of what's going on, but you're pointing the camera directly at what looks like the sun there. Couple of trees in the distance and a pretty clear sky. Can't say anything else. Back to Nets, KP4MD.
Thank you, KP4MD. Bob, N6PGQ.
Well, I agree. Looks like a campground to me. Probably a couple of airstreams and perhaps a camp stove in the foreground, a camp table in the middle bottom, and some nice trees looking into probably the setting sun, considering the shadows are coming this way. And I don't know, I can't tell much else. Good quality, not too many pixel pops. N6PGQ.
Thanks, Bob. Joel, AI6DG.
Hey, I guess it could be a campground. I was thinking it was an RV park, and someone had pulled into one of the slabs and set up for the night or week or however long they're staying. So yeah, and you can see another one of those off to the right. So you've got the two trailers in the two spots, and whatever vehicle pulled it in front of them. And the near one that we're looking at, they've set up. I mean, you've got a picnic table. There's miscellaneous stuff sitting on the cement beside the trailer. Can't quite tell what. Got some steps going up into the RV at the door on the left. Pretty good dynamic range for whatever camera took this, because yeah, we're looking straight into the sun, yet we can still see stuff in the shadows in the foreground. I hope it's nice weather and not too hot. Definitely starting to get warm around here. I hope they're on vacation and having a good time. Back to net, AI6DG.
All right. Well, thanks all for your comments. Well, this was actually taken about 9:30 or 10 at night on Saturday night up in Jackson. There was an Airstream rally, which I went to. That's our unit on the left. I was shooting the moon. That's a photo of the moon the night before the eclipse on Sunday night. And so it was giving off a really interesting light, and between the natural light that it was giving off and the way the iPhone processed the photo and the angle, it just turned out to be a kind of interesting photo that I thought I'd share. It did start to get hot up there the next day, but it was a nice time, and you were all right about the camping part of it. The vehicle in front's just a Ford Expedition. And that's about it. Anyway, it's a nighttime shot, not a daytime shot. KN6QNJ. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Does anybody else want to share a picture? If not, we'll close the net. All right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody who participated in tonight's SSTV, including our SSTV Net, including our YouTube viewers. We hope to see you again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. The net is officially closed at 9:35 p.m. This is James, Kilo November 6, Quebec November Juliet, wishing all of you a good evening.